So good morning all of you. So in our last class, we discussed the collection interface. What is the need of collection interface? And in that, what are the available interfaces? So we studied them. And later on, we discussed the collection interface in detail. So today we shall discuss the list interface. So list interface extends from the collection interface itself, and its behavior is similar to that of a collection interface only. But here in the list interface, it stores the elements in a sequence. So elements can be inserted and accessed by their position in the list. So position means it is just like accessing the element by a index. So index will start with 0 and list may contain the duplicate elements. And this is a generic interface. So we can create a generic, when we say it is generic interface, it means we can create a list of any data type, be it a list of integers, list of characters, list of any specific class objects, anything. So that's why it is called as a generic. It can hold objects of any type. In addition to the several methods that are defined by the collection interface, so list interface has its own methods. So let us look at them. So the various methods is on the screen. So it has a method add. So for this add method, it takes two parameters, index position and the object that we want to add. So this particular method will insert the object in the list at the passed index position. If any element is already present in that particular index, then all the elements will be pushed or it is shifted. But the difference here in this list interface is that the elements will not be overwritten. So overwritten means the older element will get replaced. Here, the elements will not get replaced. Instead, it will be shifted. And another method we have, that is add all method. So add all method takes the index position and a collection. So here index position specifies the location where the elements should be added. So if any pre-existing elements are there at that point, they will all be shifted up. Shifted up means they will be moved to the higher index. So this particular method will return true if it is possible to insert all the elements. Otherwise it will return false. So here collection indicates it is again a list of objects only. The next method is the get method. So in the get method, we'll pass the index. So get method is to extract the objects from the list. If we want the second element, then we can use get element and we can pass the index 2. So then the second element from the list will be returned. The next method, that is index of method. So index of method will give us the index. We'll pass the object and we'll get back the index of that particular object if the particular object is present. If object is not present, then -1 will be written. Suppose now how to identify whether a particular object is present or not. For that, object comparison needs to take place. And for that purpose, we have one more interface, that is the comparator interface. So when we discuss that comparator interface, we'll see how objects can be compared. If they are of basic type, then we can have equality and compare them. But if we have objects of a class, how to compare them? So how to compare two student objects? On what attribute we are going to compare them? So that we need to define in the comparator interface, if at all we want to compare them. Otherwise, only the reference of the object will be compared. The another method is the last index of. So this last index of method, so it returns the index of the last instance of the object. So in list, a duplication is allowed. So a same element may be present multiple number of times. So when we have the same object multiple number of times, then we can use this particular method to extract the last instance of the object. If the object is present, it will return. Otherwise, it will return -1. If object is present, then the index will be returned. So the return type is an integer value. So next method is the list iterator method. So list iterator method will return the list iterator object. So this iterator object is useful to iterate over the list. So again in collections, if we want to loop over or process all the objects in that particular collection, then we need a iterator. For again that we have a iterator class, iterator interface itself. So that will help us in iterating over all the elements, just like a file handle. So this we have discussed in our last class. So list iterator will return the iterator for the invoking list. Then list iterator will pass an index for that iterator. So this returns a iterator to the invoking list, but here the iterator will start at a specified index. Suppose if we want the iterator to start at the 4th index, so we can pass index 4. Then from 4th index position, the iteration can be done. So remove method can be used to remove an element from the list by specifying its index position. So once an element is removed from a list, then the elements that are present in the higher index will be pushed down, which means the list gets compacted. So index of the subsequent elements will be decremented by 1. Then E set index and object. So set means a particular object will be specified by the index within the invoking list. If we want to set a object at a particular index, then we can use this. We can have to pass the index and the object. Then this assigns the object to a particular location. So again, here in the set method, the objects get replaced. So if any object is already present at the particular location, it gets replaced. In add method, that is the difference between the add method and the set method. So in add method, the subsequent elements will be pushed, but in set, only one element gets replaced. Then sublist. So if we want to extract a part of a list, then we can use this sublist method. So we can specify the starting and ending indexes. It will return the list from starting index to end index -1 in the invoking list. So again, the elements in the return list can also be referenced. The reference to that particular sublist will be returned. The return type is also a list. These are the methods that are defined in the list interface. along with the methods that are defined in the collection interface. And this list interface will get inherited from the collection interface only. So here, since this is a interface, so we will call it as extends. So list interface extends collection. Okay. The next interface in the collections is the set interface. So set interface extends the collection interface and declares the behavior of the collection. The only difference between the set and other type of the collection is the presence of duplicates. In set, duplicates are not allowed. So therefore, in the add method, when we want to add an element into the collection, it will return false if the duplicate element is already present. And set is a generic interface, so which means we can create set of any type of object. The next one is the sorted set. So sorted set interface extends from the set interface only. And as it is a set, the duplicates are not allowed. Along with that, in the sorted set, there is a behavior. That is, the set is always sorted in the ascending order. And it is also a generic collection. Here, when we say it is a sorted set, the elements will be sorted, but it is in ascending order. If we have an object, then how do we decide which one is in ascending order? For that purpose, we have to use the comparison. So we must also specify how do we compare the objects, on which attribute the objects in the set needs to be compared. So the various methods are also present in this sorted set interface. All the methods that are in sorted set interface, so they can throw several kind of exceptions. No such element exception if the item is not present in the set, class cast exception, null pointer exception, illegal argument exception. So like that, many exceptions can also be thrown by the sorted set interface. So the various methods that are present in the sorted set is like this. The comparator. So comparator is again, it is an interface that is used to compare the elements. Suppose if we want to compare the objects, then we must decide on how we are comparing the objects. So if we have two student objects, then we must decide how two students object must be compared, whether it is based on the USN attribute or on the name attribute, mobile number, email ID, or their CGPA, how we are going to compare. So that needs to be specified in the comparator interface. So the comparator interface is provided in the utility package to decide about how we compare the objects. If the object is of a primitive type, if it is an integer, string, float, then the comparison will be done based on the relational operators. But in objects, we can't compare. We cannot compare two student objects with greater than, less than, or equal to. But for that specific purpose, we can use the comparator. So in the comparator, comparator, super E comparator. So this method returns the invoking sorted sets comparator. So a comparator will be returned. So if the natural ordering is used for this set, then null will be returned. So natural sorting means so default sorting order. Then if we want to extract the first element in this list uh, in the set, we can use this method first. So first method, it returns the first element in the set. Then sorted set, head set, head set, and we are passing the end. So this returns a sorted set containing the elements that are less than this one, end, in the invoking sorted set. Here from starting element, from the first element till this particular element, the sorted set will be written. So it is just like how we extract, a subset, right? But here we can't say subset. It is from the first element till this particular element will be returned. So elements in the returned sorted set are also referenced by the invoking sorted set only. So from starting till this one, that is the head set. Next, if we want to extract the middle part, here from the beginning till this element, here in this subset, it is from starting and ending. So we'll space in the middle from this particular element till this element minus 1, all those will be extracted. So that is the subset. And last method is there, that is to extract the last element in the sorted set. Then we have tail set. So tail set is start element till the end. So it returns the sorted set that contains the all the elements that are greater than or equal to this particular element. So the three varieties in which we can extract the subsets of a set: head set, starting element till this element minus 1, subset starting till end minus 1, means starting index is also specified. In tail set, it is the starting index till the end. As I mentioned, comparative interface is another interface provided by the Java API, which can be used to order the objects. So using this particular interface, so as a programmer, we can decide what is the order of the object. If we don't decide, then the comparison will be done on the natural order. So natural order will be decided by the runtime itself. If we want it to be different from the natural order, then we have to use this comparator interface. So next category of interface is the navigable set. So navigable set is added in Java Standard Edition 6. It extends the sorted set and declares the behavior of the collection that supports how the elements are retrieved based on the closest match. So given a value, how its closest match will be evaluated. So navigable interface is extended from sorted set only. The various methods that are present in the navigable set is the sealing. So the first method is the sealing. So this particular method sealing, an object will be passed. It searches the set for the smallest element such that that particular element should be equal to the passed element or just simply greater. If an element is found, it returns. Otherwise, a null is returned. So you can think this navigable set as, let us take it as an array of integers, or it is just an integer object. Then given any object, so if we consider only even elements, so only even elements are present in navigable set like 2, 4, 6, 8 and till 10. If we pass ceiling of 5, then this particular method will return the result 6 because the 5 is not present in the set. Ceiling means it is equal or just greater. So equal element is not present because we are considering a set of even numbers. So 5 is not present. So greater than that is 6. So 6 will be returned. So that is the meaning of ceiling. Then descending iterator. So descending iterator will return an iterator that moves from the greatest to the least. So it is nothing but a reverse iterator. So iterator that moves from greatest to least means reverse indexing, we can say like that. So next method is the descending set. So in descending set, it will return a navigable set which will be reverse of the invoking set. So the resulting set is backed by the invoking set. So if you want a reverse of a set, then we can use this navigable set. So all the methods that are present in the collection interface, then the methods present in the sorted set, then the methods that are present in the set interface. So all of them can be used in the navigable set because it is extended from all of them. So add method, deletion. So all those can is same. So next, similarly, floor method we have. So floor method will search for the largest element such that it is the element should be equal to object or it is just less than that. So it is similar to ceiling but in the reverse. So again in the same example, if we consider the even elements, so in that navigable set of even numbers, so if we again pass 5 as the for this floor function, now this time it will return 4 because 4 is the nearest match and it is less than or equal to that one, the element that we have passed, that is 5. Similar to set interface, here also we have the headset. So headset method is passed with the upper bound and the one boolean variable, that is the inclusion. So it returns a navigable set that includes all the elements from the invoking set that are less than this particular upper bound. But here there is one boolean parameter that we can pass that will control whether to include this upper bound element or not. So if it is true, then the element that is equal to upper bound will be included and its result will be returned. So similar to the sorted set headset, here it is from starting till this upper bound, whether to include the upper bound element or not, that we have to pass over here. The next method in this navigable set is the higher. So this particular method searches the entire set for the largest element. So here we will pass an object. So it will search the largest object. So if the largest object is found, that particular element will be returned. Otherwise it will return null. So similar to this uh, largest uh, higher method. So we have few more methods, that is the lower method. So this particular lower method, lower method. So this lower method will search the entire set for the largest element such that it is less than the given object. So if such the element is found, so it is returned. Then poll first method. So poll first method returns the first element, removing the element in the process. So poll first will returns the first element. Along with that, that particular element will be removed from the set. So because the set is sorted, the element with the least value will be returned, and null is returned if the set is empty. Poll last method, it returns the last element. Again, here also the last element will be returned, and along with that it will be removed from the list. So if the set is sorted, then anyway it is the greatest value that will be present at the last location, so it will be returned and as well as removed. So if the set is empty, it will return null. So poll first returns and removes the first element, whereas poll last method returns and removes the last element. So the other methods include the subset. Here in the subset, we are passing 4 parameters, that is the lower bound and a flag indicating whether the lower bound value should be included or not, then upper bound and a flag to indicate whether the higher bound should be included or not. So between these two bounds, so whatever elements are there, that will be returned as a navigable set. So if these Boolean flags are true, then both the bounds will be included if at all an element is present matching that particular value. Then if the flags are different, then those can be left out also. So this is the method to extract the subset of a navigable set. Then tail set. So similar to head set, this tail set will have elements from this lower bound till the end. And again, whether to include this or not, a Boolean flag will be present. So these are the methods that are present in the navigable set. So navigable sets are also capable of throwing the exceptions, that is the class cast exception, the null pointer exception, and illegal argument exceptions are thrown suitably when invalid arguments are passed, or if an attempt is made to use the null object, then null pointer exception will be thrown. And if an object is typecasted to an incompatible type, then the class cast exception will be thrown. So these are the methods of the navigable set. So today we discuss the set and list interfaces. So in our next class, we shall discuss the queue and DQ interface. So we shall execute the code and verify them, queue and DQ interfaces. So you can enter your attendance in the chat window and exit.